Well, actually, Elvis loved the song. That was when he and Priscilla were having their problems, which I met her recently. And
how Dolly Parton became a rock star. Without losing her country roots, Dolly Parton's evolution from enduring country icon to fully fledged rock powerhouse is one of the most surprising and seamlessly executed genre transitions in modern music. And the story behind that shift reveals far more than a simple change in sonic aesthetics. It represented an artist with enough cultural capital, narrative instinct, and emotional intelligence to reshape how reinvention works without discarding the identity that made her beloved in the first place. In recent years, audiences across multiple generations watched Dolly step up to rock stages, collaborate with legendary electric guitar heroes, and release an album built on distortion, swagger, and amplified arrangements. Yet the truly astonishing part wasn't the stylistic shift itself. It was the way fans from both the country and rock worlds embraced her, as if this move were a natural continuation of her journey instead of a risky left turn. That kind of acceptance isn't typical. Most musical crossovers, no matter who attempts them, tend to look like temporary experiments, costumes put on for a season, or marketing maneuvers engineered to chase a trend. Audiences usually detect the shift instantly, and if they feel the artist is abandoning something essential or diluting a well-established identity, the reaction can be lukewarm at best. But Dolly's transformation never felt like a departure or an act of trend-chasing. Rather, it felt like a widening of her artistic landscape, an expansion grounded in authenticity, humility, and intentionality. At the
too, Colonel Tom, his manager, he made some wise decisions, evidently. So he knew what.
Part of the move was a key moment in her career, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. When Dolly was nominated, she initially expressed discomfort, suggesting she didn't feel she had earned the title of a rock artist. That sincerity immediately resonated with people, reinforcing her reputation as an artist with genuine self-awareness. When the Hall insisted she was worthy, she accepted and then made a bold decision to create a rock album not as a vanity project, but as an act of respect. She framed the entire endeavor as a way to honor the rock community, its history, its artists, and the fans who shaped it. That framing set the tone for everything that followed. By giving the project a mission rooted in gratitude, homage, and artistic responsibility, she made it clear that she wasn't abandoning country music, nor was she co-opting another genre for short-term attention. She was fulfilling a promise to the Hall, to herself, and to the listeners who had always supported her. That mission-driven beginning became the bedrock of the Rockstar approach, and its importance can't be overstated. Dolly avoided this temptation entirely. Her approach acknowledged that her voice, soft yet strong, warm but nimble, steeped in decades of storytelling, was her most valuable instrument, and that any rock material she performed needed to enhance, rather than distort that instrument. Instead of imitating rock singers, she approached rock songs in a decidedly Dolly manner, choosing melodies and arrangements that gave her vowels room to stretch and her signature phrasing the ability to glide through the mix. Even under layers of guitar, percussion, and electric texture, her voice floated clearly, allowing listeners to hear country storytelling embedded within rock architecture. This was one of the masterstrokes of the project. Dolly embraced rock aesthetics without sacrificing the vocal transparency that has defined her career. And because she stayed vocally true to herself, the covers and collaborations felt organic. She didn't attempt to overpower her featured partners, or let them overpower her. Instead, she sought out artists whose timbres and textures complemented hers, building a tonal balance that felt collaborative rather than competitive. This cross-vocal harmony allowed each track to feel like a meeting of equals, even when she was paired with some of the most celebrated names in rock history. But the collaboration strategy had an additional layer that went beyond vocal pairing. Dolly intentionally aligned herself with artists from multiple eras, classic rock legends whose names evoke the 60s, 70s, and 80s, as well as contemporary figures who speak directly to younger audiences. This multi-generational lineup created a unique triangulation. Older listeners tuned in for the legacy artists they adored, middle-aged fans recognized the songs and stylistic references, and younger listeners engaged because their modern favorites were present. The effect was not merely a momentary surge in relevance, but sustained expansion of Dolly's audience across platforms and
nobody could outsing her. But when I heard it, my heart just stopped. I just couldn't believe that my little song, my little simple song that was written straight from my heart.
Demographics. Few artists have successfully built a project that simultaneously appeals to grandparents, parents, and teenagers without feeling manufactured. But Dolly achieved this by being genuinely excited about every collaborator she chose. Fans sensed that sincerity. She allowed mandolin flourishes, acoustic strums, and vocal harmonies to coexist with electric instrumentation. This decision meant the songs didn't just read as rock songs performed by a country artist. They felt like hybrid creations that preserved the essence of her musical identity. She didn't need to sever herself from her roots to prove she could thrive elsewhere. Instead, she embodied the idea that genre fluidity doesn't require self-erasure. Crossing into a new style didn't mean burning the bridge behind her. It meant walking confidently across it and showing that she could occupy multiple musical spaces simultaneously. Just as important as the music itself was the way Dolly and her team communicated the project publicly. Consistency of message became the glue holding the entire transition together. Every interview, every behind-the-scenes clip, every piece of album artwork, and every press appearance reinforced the same core narrative. Dolly was honoring rock while staying true to who she has always been. This kind of disciplined storytelling is rare, but powerful. When artists deliver mixed messages during reinventions, audiences interpret the confusion as uncertainty or identity crisis. Dolly, however, expressed the same values repeatedly: gratitude, respect, authenticity, enthusiasm, and that clear storytelling transformed what could have been perceived as a risky artistic shift into a confident celebration of musical lineage. The result was a project that didn't feel like it was attempting to chase relevance. It felt like a lifetime achievement victory lap with fresh energy. She demonstrated that reinvention is not about discarding previous chapters, but about reframing them in a way that feels continuous and expansive. Observers within the music industry quickly noticed that Dolly had created a blueprint, one that younger or genre-bound artists could study for guidance. The steps were simple but profound. Define the mission. Choose songs that respect your voice, collaborate across generations, retain the musical DNA that defines you, and stay consistent in your public message. These principles, when executed with sincerity, can allow an artist to broaden their creative world without alienating the audience that built them. The beauty of Dolly's approach lies in its dual invitation. She invites fans to join her as she explores new territory, and she invites fellow artists to challenge their boundaries without fear of losing themselves. By the end of the project, it became clear that Dolly hadn't just released a rock album. She had reshaped the story of cross-genre evolution. Her journey serves as a reminder that authenticity, when paired with intentional framing and thoughtful artistic decisions, has the power to transcend genre walls. Her rock moment doesn't erase her country legacy. Instead, it magnifies it, proving that true artistic identity is flexible.
The best choices. And I was very influenced by that. Now, I got my music from my mother's side of the family, and most musical people.
Expansive and resilient. And as audiences and artists alike reflect on the impact of her crossover, they can recognize that Dolly Parton didn't become a rock star by shedding her roots. She became one by carrying them proudly onto a new stage, letting them shine in a different light, and showing the world that reinvention can be a celebration rather than a departure. Her transformation is ultimately a testament to her enduring creativity, her respect for musical history, and her unwavering ability to craft narratives that resonate across generations. It is this blueprint, mission-driven, voice-centered, collaborative, rooted, and consistently communicated, that will continue to serve as a model for reinventive artistry for years to come, offering a path for musicians who dream of expanding without abandoning, evolving without erasing, and bridging the divide between old worlds and new audiences with the same grace, confidence, and heartfelt authenticity that Dolly brought to her unforgettable rock era. Dolly Parton's journey into rock music not only reframed her artistic identity, but also revealed deeper truths about how legacy artists can evolve, communicate with audiences, and strategically expand their cultural influence without compromising the values or stylistic signatures that made them iconic in the first place. When examining Dolly's rock chapter in greater detail, it becomes clear that her move was built on layers of historical awareness, brand consistency, cross-generational storytelling, and almost unprecedented ability to maintain trust across fan bases that usually exist in different musical worlds. Dolly didn't merely release an album in a new genre. She executed carefully choreographed cultural negotiation, speaking to longtime country loyalists, lifelong rock enthusiasts, industry insiders, and casual listeners all at once, managing to satisfy each group without alienating the others. This delicate balancing act started long before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. It began with decades of public goodwill, transparency, and relational equity that Dolly built through interviews, performances, philanthropy, and storytelling.
Pretty girl, for the times, a little overdone, of course, but I used that. I was not intimidated. I took it as a compliment when...
By the time she approached rock music, she had become synonymous with sincerity, humor, resilience, and artistic respectfulness, qualities that allowed her to take creative risks without being perceived as disingenuous or opportunistic. Many artists struggle with reinvention because their previous careers are marked by contradictions, inconsistent messaging, or perceived inauthenticity. Dolly's clarity of persona and consistency of narrative gave her a uniquely stable foundation. This stability became a kind of emotional permission slip in the eyes of her audience. They trusted her enough to follow her anywhere, including into a genre famous for electric intensity and bold theatricality. Yet, what makes her rock pivot even more remarkable is that she didn't attempt to out-rock lifelong rock musicians. Instead, she brought her own artistry into their space and allowed the collaboration itself to create the synergy. Her humility, paired with confidence, projected a sense of respect for the genre's heritage without diminishing her own identity, making audiences feel like they were witnessing a shared celebration rather than a stylistic takeover. Instead of letting production overwhelm her natural tone, she allowed her voice to occupy the emotional center of every track. Listeners familiar with the typical structure of rock songs could still feel the grit and edge expected of the genre. Yet they also encountered Dolly's signature brightness and emotional warmth, resulting in a hybrid experience that didn't sound like imitation, but rather reinterpretation. This reinterpretation did more than modernize Dolly. It reframed rock itself as a genre capable of embracing expansive, narrative-driven singing rather than limiting itself to the archetypal raspy shouts or gritty vocals associated with many of its icons. By inhabiting rock songs with her unmistakable tone, Dolly practically demonstrated that genre boundaries are porous and that rock's emotional power can be expressed through a variety of vocal textures, including those rooted in country's melodic storytelling. Meanwhile, her long history of collaborations in country music gave her an edge when working with rock royalty. She had spent decades harmonizing with other artists, blending timbres, and understanding how to create space within arrangements so that musical voices could complement rather than compete with each other. That collaborative instinct became vital in the rock environment, where egos and sonic intensity often collide. Dolly navigated those dynamics with grace, bringing a sense of playfulness, generosity, and mutual respect to every partnership. This humility, expressed repeatedly across media appearances, reinforced the narrative that Rockstar wasn't a personal vanity project, but rather a tribute to rock culture, a culture she admired long before this album existed. Her behind-the-scenes footage, promotional images, and press statements all supported this message, creating a unified communication strategy that strengthened the emotional connection between artist and audience. Fans could sense that Dolly wasn't simply trying to fit in with rock. She was honoring its lineage while inviting its musicians to celebrate alongside her. This message discipline is one of the most overlooked but powerful aspects of her success. Many genre transitions fail not because the music is weak, but because the artist's messaging is inconsistent. They might claim to be moving forward while simultaneously apologizing for change, or they might insist they're not abandoning their roots while visually and sonically contradicting themselves. Dolly avoided that trap entirely. She reiterated again and again that she loved country music, would never leave it, and viewed a rock album as an addition rather than a replacement. She framed the project as a joyful obligation, a heartfelt tribute, and a personal challenge. And by articulating those motivations so consistently, she created a sense of coherence that made the entire transition feel natural. Consistency of message has an almost subconscious effect on audiences. Even if fans disagree with a creative decision, consistent communication prevents confusion and resentment. Dolly masterfully ensured that her country fans felt secure, her rock collaborators felt valued, and the general public understood the purpose behind the album. This clear and steady narrative reduced the psychological friction that often accompanies genre transitions, allowing listeners to focus on the music rather than questioning her intentions. Beyond messaging, Dolly's visual presentation played a major role in bridging the gap between country and rock audiences. Her iconic appearance, big hair, glamorous makeup, rhinestones, remained intact, even as she incorporated edgier details into her wardrobe. Instead of replacing her aesthetic, she layered rock elements over her established look, creating outfits that honor both traditions. The result was visually coherent yet excitingly fresh. She appeared on promotional materials wearing studded jackets or bold metallic textures, paired with her signature sparkles, blending the glamour of country stage wear with the swagger of rock fashion. These visuals communicated the genre blend at a glance, preparing audiences for the hybrid musical experience to come. Costume designers and stylistic analysts later noted that Dolly's visual strategy could serve as a template for artists attempting complicated genre transitions. Never abandon your aesthetic foundation. Instead, extend it into new territory. If the visuals shift too abruptly, audiences sense a break in identity. Dolly's visuals signaled evolution, not replacement. Dolly turned that expectation upside down. Instead of retreating into the comfort of nostalgia, she embarked on one of the boldest artistic experiments of her career, proving that reinvention is not the exclusive domain of youth. Her move signaled to both fans and fellow artists that growth doesn't end with age, and that creative exploration can flourish at any stage of life. Younger artists looking toward long careers took notice. The Rockstar blueprint became a model. Stay authentic, respect your audience's intelligence, collaborate widely, and communicate your mission clearly. Dolly has always been an artist in complete control of her image. From the earliest days of her career, she crafted a persona rooted in warmth, humor, self-awareness, and storytelling. She embraced the boldness of her appearance and used it as an entry point to deeper emotional truths in her songwriting. She treated interviews as opportunities to connect with audiences rather than perform a script. This long history of authenticity created a reservoir of goodwill that allowed her to experiment without alienating listeners. The rock album was simply the latest chapter in a career built on trust and transparency. Even the promotion materials for Rockstar were infused with Dolly's characteristic humor and charm. She joked about rocking out, shared behind-the-scenes clips that capture her joy in the studio, and invited fans into the process with a sense of fun rather than pressure. This tone made the project feel accessible rather than intimidating, especially to country fans who might not normally gravitate toward rock music. She showed them that rock didn't have to be intimidating or aggressive. It could be joyful, collaborative, and rooted in story, just like country. These playful invitations help soften the genre transition and encourage fans to engage with the music in a spirit of openness. Furthermore, the collaboration strategies serve not just musical but social and cultural purposes. By aligning herself with artists across eras, Dolly created a sense of unity in a time when generational divides often shape musical taste and media consumption. Her rock album became a rare cultural event that grandparents, parents, and teenagers could enjoy together, each finding something familiar within the track list. This multi-generational appeal has become increasingly rare in modern music, where fragmentation dominates the listening landscape. It may encourage more legacy artists to take creative risks, more young musicians to view their careers as multi-genre journeys, and more fans who embrace the idea that musical identity can be fluid. Dolly provided a roadmap. Announce your mission, honor your roots, collaborate generously, maintain vocal authenticity, and communicate your intentions with clarity and joy. Reinvention, she has shown, is not about abandoning who you were, but expanding who you can be. Her rock chapter stands as a testament to the idea that artistic identity is not fixed. It is a living, breathing force that evolves alongside the artist and the audience. By stepping into rock music with humility, integrity, and creative courage, Dolly Parton became not just a rock star in the literal sense, but a symbol of fearless artistic expansion. She reminded the world that genres are invitations, not boundaries, that longevity is a canvas, not a limit, and that the most powerful transformations are those rooted in respect for oneself, for one's audience, and for the art form itself.